Ok, salut les gars et bienvenue à cette leçon. Cette leçon fait partie de mon cours de Français toi. Ok, bonjour tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, on va discuter le conditionnel en français. And good news for everyone, we'll have some English being spoken today because this is not a super simple subject to understand. But together we'll get through. Le conditionnel has to do with things that will potentially come to pass dependent on some condition. So this condition's being satisfied is usually tipped off by the word si, which we would say if in English. In English, the conditional is expressed by a single isolated word. For example, I would go. All of the modal verbs in English behave this way. None of the modal verbs in French do. Instead, in French, they're expressed by a bound verb ending. For example, j'irai, A-I-S, c'est la terminaison du verbe irait, right, which tells us that this is a conditional verb. In both languages, the conditional expresses dependency on a condition's being satisfied. For example, I would go if I had money. Having money is a potential eventuality whose satisfaction would enable someone to go somewhere. In other words, the condition of having money has to be met in order to go. In English, like in French, you can have the clause beginning with if at the end of the sentence or in the beginning of the sentence. As you know, you could always say, if I had money, I would go. J'irai si j'avais de l'argent. That's how you say it in French. I would go if I had money. We use the imparfait rather than the passé composé to express the condition. Si j'avais de l'argent, it's the condition. If I had money. So for most of the ER verbs, to form the conditional, you join the verb ending from the imparfait to the infinitive. If we take the infinitive parler, the imparfait for the je form is parler. Then we take parler and we add et to render the conditional parlerai. Note the pronunciation difference. When we are using the infinitive, parler, we never hear the orthographic R at the end of this word. But in the conditional, you always hear the R. Hence, parlerai. Okay. Par exemple, je parlerais chinois si je l'avais étudié. Je parlerais chinois si je l'avais étudié. And in English, I would speak Chinese if I had studied it. For the ER verbs with spelling changes, an R sound is added to the je form to facilitate pronunciation. For an example of that, we have the verb s'appeler, to call oneself. The infinitive s'appeler, first person singular, je m'appelle. To je m'appelle, we add re and et, rendering the conditional je m'appellerai. Just rolls off the tongue. Je m'appellerai. As an example, the verb célébrer. Je célébrerai si c'était ton anniversaire. Je célébrerai si c'était ton anniversaire. I would celebrate if it were your birthday. And for the regular IR verbs, we join the verb ending from the imparfait to the infinitive. If we take the infinitive réussir, it's imparfait, first person singular, je réussissais. We take the bare form réussir plus est to render the conditional réussirai. For irregular IR verbs, we join the verb ending from the imparfait to the infinitive and add ra. So, for the infinitive pouvoir, and it's imparfait, first person singular, je pouvais. We have pouvoir, we remove the voir and add ra to render the conditional je pourrais. Je pourrais. This can be translated as either I would be able to or I could in English. Par exemple, je finirais la tâche si j'avais plus de temps. Je finirais la tâche si j'avais plus de temps. I would finish this chore if I had more time. For regular RE verbs, remove the final E, join the verb ending from the imparfait to the infinitive. With the infinitive attendre, in the imparfait first person singular, j'attendais, we take attendre, remove the E and add AIS to render the conditional j'attendrai. For example, je répondrai à ta question en chair si on ne pratiquait plus la distanciation sociale. This sentence is a mouthful, but it describes our times. Je répondrai à ta question en chair si on ne pratiquait plus la distanciation sociale. In other words, I would answer your question in person if we weren't doing social distancing anymore. Something to look forward to. Bon, c'est parti pour l'instant. That's it for now. Merci d'être venu. On va continuer notre étude de français très bientôt.